Hello and welcome to my first tarot reading video. I'm Charlotte, a painter, scribbler, and tarot reader. I've been reading tarot cards since I was 15, and recently I published my first tarot deck of 86 cards earlier this year. Each card is an original watercolor painting I created between 2019 and 2020. If you'd like to know more, I've linked its Kickstarter video in the corner, and you can also find it on my channel. And I've also put the details in the description below. So without further ado, here are the 4 piles of cards which I've shuffled and picked for you. Each pile has a sticker that I created: a moon, a rabbit, a chrysanthemum, and a cat. So pick a pile with your intuition. Don't think too much about it, just pick the one you're most drawn to find out what's in store for you in 2022. The links are in the pinned comment or description below. For those who chose the moon sticker, these are the cards that were shuffled for you. Please keep in mind that this is a general reading, so just take whatever message resonates, and know that this is just a vibe check for what's coming in next year in general. So for group 1, you have the following cards. From the Pixie's Astounding Lenormand deck, you have the mice. From my prototype deck, you have Justice. From my deck, the L'Oeil de l'Âme Tarot, you have the Magician, the Hermit, the Lovers, the Knight of Swords, Ten of Pentacles, Nine of Wands, Ace of Swords, Eight of Swords, and Seven of Wands. And finally, as a message from the Oracle, the Art Oracles, you have Gustave Courbet. Right off the bat, the Knight of Swords brings in the sense that you're going to be very focused and conscious of your actions in the coming year, as there will be a lot of decision making coming in for you. In particular, one of these decisions will be in your relationships, whether they be a friendship, a relationship you have with a family member, or even a romantic one. The Justice card indicates that you've been dragging this on for a while, even though this actually might have been a toxic relationship. Or at least the Lover suggests that the relationship in some ways have been hurting you for a while. It is a situation that has taken advantage of you, whether it's your time or your energy, but it has taken advantage of you, and yet you've held on despite knowing how much it hurts to stay. So in your head or in your mind, you feel like you're the Eight of Swords. You're bound, you're tied up, you're constrained by the situation itself. It's almost as if you can't escape. But it does seem that 2022 will finally be the year that you finally learn to let go and treat this experience or this relationship as merely as a part of your journey and as a part of your past that you can look back on as a lesson, which we see in the Nine of Swords. Which we see in the Nine of Wands. Then in your career or your creative projects, or even what you just consider as work, things continue to go smoothly for you. Though again in your head you might feel like you've been struggling, as we see from the Hermit. You might have felt as though you're just looping things you've used or that you already know, and that you feel as though you're stuck in a never-ending circle, that you haven't really grown or stepped out of your comfort zone. However, in 2022, it seems that your mind is finally catching up to reality. Ace of Swords suggests that there will be a breakthrough coming along, which will unlock this new phase of you becoming the magician, where you finally become in tune with your creativity and are able to access your full potential. Do, however, be prepared to defend your ideas. We see in the Seven of Wands that not many people will buy into it at the first glance, but as long as you stay true to what your heart is set on, the Ten of Pentacles indicate that things cannot go wrong and that you will enjoy the fruit of your labor when the time is right, but you must stay focused. The Lenormand card, the mice, indicate that there is a chance that if you're not careful, your self-esteem may crumble if you allow the infestation to grow. The infestation, of course, is the people who are trying to tear you down, or even just the situation or things that happen that will slowly crumble and eat at your self-esteem. So finally, from the Gustave Courbet card, it reads, "Fight the power and paint the powerless. Show what you see and not what you saw, and may your help finance your legal fees." I love the last line. Anyway, so Courbet is a 19th century French realist painter who made works of what was around him. His subjects are actually mostly rural landscapes or seascapes and of the working class, in particular prostitutes. This was in contrast with what was popular at the time, which were actually the Romanticists, who emphasized emotions and imagination. Courbet is also a socialist who was very active in the French politics, and he was actually jailed for 6 months and ended up fleeing to Switzerland in self-exile in order to avoid legal fees. Therefore, you have that line, "May your art help you finance your legal fees." Anyway, that's all I have for you. Again, it's very non-specific because there are way too many people that cannot be covered in just 4 piles. So these are just very, very brief messages of the general vibe that's coming for you in the year 2022. Anyway, if you have any questions, feel free to comment below, and thank you for joining me, and I wish you a very happy and wonderful new year. Hello, Group 2. For those who picked the rabbit sticker, please keep in mind that this is a short and sweet general reading, so just take what message resonates and think of this as more or less a feel of what's coming for you in the year 2022. So onwards to the cards, we have for you, from Pixie's Astounding Lenormand deck, the Coffin. From my prototype deck, you have the World. From my deck, the L'Oeil de l'Âme Tarot, you have the Guardian of Cups, the Fool, the Tower, the Chariot, Three of Swords, Five of Swords, Ace of Pentacles, Three of Pentacles, and Four of Pentacles. And finally, as a message card from the Art Oracles, you have Artemisia Gentileschi. So, Group 2, 2022 is a year of everything new for you. In 2021, or in the beginning of the new year, you were in a situation where you were forced to confront your fears and your insecurities as shown by the Tower card. Chances are that you've had your heart broken, or that you're currently mourning a sense of rejection and loss. There are many different types of loss, and for a small number of you, this was extremely profound. And shortly before this happened, it seemed like you were betting on a lucky break, but it fell through in the end. But it's okay. Things will get better. In the coming year of 2022, The fact that you have the World card with you oversees everything with a blessing, in which nothing too drastically bad, at least not as bad as 2021, will happen. So, in the coming year, I see that because of the disappointment from before, you're much more determined, or shall we say, willingly distracted by your work or your passion projects, as we see from the Chariot card. There's a strong sense of finding and sharing new methods to gain more abundance in both connections and wealth and even just emotional health. Oh, that rhymed. Anyway, we see that from the Ace and the 3 and the 4 of Pentacles. It seems as though that you're learning to find a way to make use of your pain and to turn it into something that you can gain traction from. The Fool card suggests that this is a new venture, unlike anything that you've been dealing with before, and that this will become a year of constantly rebooting yourself and restarting things because you're still trying to find your way in this world. However, the 4 of Pentacles urge you to not try and hoard all of the opportunities that come at you, because they will come at you, and the more you do this and you just keep holding on to these ventures and opportunities, the less you're able to explore. And there is so much for you to explore. So don't waste your time and energy trying to hold on to things, because no matter what, they will come back to you. It's just going to take a little while more, but they will at some point come back. The 5 of Swords specifically warn against you to hold on. So because from the rejection that you had before, you're prone to looking back and to long for something that's not meant to be for you yet. So make sure you're able to touch base with different fields and circles and people and just try, experiment, explore, do anything you want. Just don't bet everything on 1 or 2 opportunities. At the same time, you may also feel rather defensive, as we see from the Guardian of Cups. There's a chance that because you felt that rejection and disappointment from the Tower from 2021, you've decided to protect yourself a little better, in a way that your emotions are no longer at stake, or you're hiding your emotions, and in a sense that also comes across to other people that you're being inauthentic or that you're not being real. But don't worry too much, because the people who do matter or who will take a huge part of your life will see you for who you are, and for those who don't, well, they don't really matter now, do they? Anyway, finally you have the card from the Art Oracles, Artemisia Gentileschi. It reads, "History has your back. Society stabs you in it. Use your talent like a weapon. Don't let convention confine you." Gentileschi, who is often referred to as Artemisia to avoid overlap with her father, was a 17th century Italian Baroque painter who, like many of her contemporaries, painted mythological and religious subjects. Though Artemisia's work has long been read as extensions to her life, her biography, and especially to her trauma, she is actually an extraordinary painter whose work is incredibly detailed and presents unconventional interpretations of the myths for her time. Anyway, I know this is really short, but that's all I have for you, Group 2. Feel free to comment below if you have any questions. I'm also available for personal readings if you're looking for them. I hope that you have a great day or night, you hold on for 2022, and that you have a wonderful, wonderful new year. Hello Group 3, you've picked the Chrysanthemum sticker. So before I tell you what's in your pile, I just want to let you know that this short and sweet reading will only tell you a general vibe of what's in store for you in the coming year. So just take whatever message resonates. In your pile, you have the following cards. From Pixie's Astounding Lenormand deck, you have the Stork. And then from my prototype deck, you have the Emperor. From my official deck, the L'Oeil de l'Âme Tarot, you have the King of Wands, the Hanged Man, the World, the High Priestess, Six of Cups, Six of Pentacles, Six of Wands, Three of Wands, and Nine of Swords. And finally, as a message card from the Art Oracles, you have William Blake. So with the Lenormand card of the Stork, we're looking at changes coming in your way, a sense of transition, of something finally moving along. In the past year, the Hanged Man card suggests that you've been in a situation where you're halted and you didn't know how to move forward or even backwards. It's not like you wanted to stay still, it's just that you've never had the chance to actually give yourself the space to keep the wheels turning. The Nine of Swords show that there's this sense of constantly overthinking and fearing for the worst, while the Six of Pentacles suggests that you've given too much of yourself in service of others. Let it be your labor, your money, or even just your time. And time is a huge resource. So in 2022, please follow the advice from the Three of Wands and explore, because chances are there are probably some overseas opportunities for you that you've missed out on before, but is finally circling back to you this year. The Stork card also suggests that there's this sense of migration and change of scenery from what you're used to. So if it's not overseas, you're probably also just changing jobs or something. But if we're looking for more hints, there's something that maybe you've been dreaming of since you were a kid, because we see this in the Six of Cups. And the High Priestess card also tells me that you kind of already know what this might be, and it seems to be something creative. You could be making music, or writing, or you're making art, or even if we're actually just pulling this back into a microscope, then maybe you're just designing a small part of a much larger project. But for some of you, however, this new opportunity that will lead you to elsewhere doesn't seem to be career related. I can also see that for some of you, you've been hurt by someone who was charming, as indicated from the King of Wands, and that this situation of not meeting the right people has been kind of like a repeating cycle. It's been repeating over and over again. Or like in Chinese, we also call this 嘎头发. So what ends up leading you away from this repeating cycle is a new relationship, but it doesn't have to be romantic. This could be an old friendship that transitions into another form of relationship. It, of course, could be romantic, be a respark of an old flame, or even just the return of an old friend you lost touch with. But either way, I don't see this migration to be forever. As with the birds, though you leave for the winter, you will return. The Six of Wands is the picture of a triumphant homecoming, and that the skills and experience and knowledge that you now have is already enough to take you to further than you could imagine. And when you will return with confidence, abundance, and power, as we see from the Emperor. So, of course, for some of you, the Emperor could also indicate a homecoming with a partner by your side. Again, this is a very small pile for a lot of people, so it's a lot of mixed messages. But anyway, the World card reassures you that good things will be coming to you in 2022, especially after a whole year of feeling stuck. See this year as an opportunity to create and stretch your visions. So dream of the impossible, and think of this year as step 1. And finally, from the Art Oracles, the card William Blake says, "Hell is hypocrisy on earth. Vision requires not sight, but spirit. And madness in life, genius in death." So Blake was an English poet and painter, as well as a printmaker from the long 18th century. Though religious, Blake was actually rather forward-thinking in his time, and was considered to be an eccentric or mad by his contemporaries. His work, however, is mostly recognizable by his dreamy, soft illustrations that are often accompanied by his writing. And that's all I have for you, Group 3. If there are any questions, feel free to comment below, and I wish you a wonderful, wonderful new year. Hi, Group 4. For those who picked the cat sticker, please bear in mind that this is just a short and sweet general reading, and it doesn't cover everything. So take what message resonates and think of this as a way to figure out the general vibes of what's in store for you in 2022. So without further ado, in your pile, these are the cards you have. From Pixie's Astounding Lenormand deck, you have the Crossroads. From my prototype deck, you have Death. From my deck, Lloyd de Lam Tarot, you have the Emperor, the Sun, Justice, Queen of Swords, Ace of Wands, Ace of Cups, Nine of Cups, Six of Swords, and Eight of Cups. And finally, as a message card from the Art Oracles, you have Vincent van Gogh, or Goth, or Go, whichever way you pronounce it. So first of all, congratulations on making it through 2021. The past few years have been incredibly tough for you, and not in the sense where you feel like you're stuck or unmotivated, but more that you've been struggling with validating and accepting your own growth and achievements. However, this feeling of being unseen or not living up to your full potential, this cycle is finally coming to an end with a Death card. Perhaps many of you kind of already know or had a feeling that it was ending, and you're making the preparations for it by manifesting your chances or your success, but you weren't exactly sure when your dreams will come true. Well, 2022 is the year it starts to really show, especially with the Nine of Cups in your spread, which is a wishing card. However, this is not to say that you can just lean back and reap the benefits. The Queen of Swords is a real boss bitch and won't take no for an answer. Especially if things are going smoothly, be prepared to fight for what is right and show them who's boss. This is the year you really settle into your confidence. Or more that, because of everything you've dealt with in the years before, you're finally giving no shits this year. You're going to fight for what you want. Moreover, the Crossroads from the Lenormand deck and the Justice card suggest that you continue to have to make choices, because despite how many opportunities are presented to you, not every single one leads you directly to where you want to be. So weigh your options carefully. If you're an intuitive decision maker most of the time, perhaps it's time to see things more objectively before you rush to follow your gut. It doesn't hurt to have all the possibilities in your hands first. For those who are more logical or like to strategize, this is the time to follow your heart. Do what you want to do first. The two aces present the perfect marriage of intellectual and the emotional in order to pursue the projects, contracts, and opportunities you want. Speaking of marriage, the Emperor and the Sun indicates that this year will also bring talk of it if you're in a relationship, or at least 2022 will bring you a partner if you're single. For those who are already married, there's a transition of your relationship to being more stable and being more homely as you learn to understand yourself and your partner more. However, for some of you, actually a lot of you, there's also decisions being made or discussions being had about migration. But unlike Group 3, your migration feels more permanent, as we see from the Six of Swords. There's a huge sense that you might have been thinking of leaving your home country or city for a pretty long while, probably due to societal circumstances. So if you're from Hong Kong, well, obviously we understand. Right, I forgot to mention Eight of Cups. So while 2022 brings a lot of opportunities and chances to really glow, you're still going to be dealing with the aftermath of the last cycle, which includes a lot of self-doubt that is useful in ways because it motivates and encourages you to reach for more ambitious goals. However, the Eight of Cups reminds you to also remember that you already have a lot and be grateful for it, because no matter what, that's still your achievement, and it's unfair to your past self if you disregard what you have the moment you reach it. So savor what you have and remember to live in the present. Finally, from our beloved earless painter, if committed, stay committed. Posthumous recognition requires a paper trail. Use the daylight to face the night. If you don't already know, Vincent van Gogh, or Gough, is a 19th century Dutch post-impressionist painter who painted over 2,000 artworks in a decade. He struggled with depression and poverty for most of his life and didn't gain recognition until after his suicide when he was 37. He is also one of the reasons why we glorify and romanticize tortured artists. Anyway, that's all I have for you, Group 4. If you have any questions, feel free to comment them down below. I hope you enjoyed the reading. I know it's really short, but I have all the faith that you will do very well in 2022, and I hope that you have a wonderful new year.